Hey guys, Tbull here. Today we got a game in the Friesland for you. Anti-air build on the right and on the left. That inspiration Azura Lane Yukikaze. Maxed, it's a plus 20% boost to the damage on the AA. Look at that. All AA on this puppy. That's right. Every time we get focused by a carrier, I'm going to transform another ship in my fleet to an all AA build. And here we get to see the Friesland at its most vicious. Now we're going to answer the question in this game. Can you get multiple clear skies in a single match? That will be resolved by the end of this game. And we're probably going to see the fastest clear skies medal in mankind's history. Maybe, maybe not. But we rack it up very quickly. Now we're going against an Lexington who's got fully loaded 3 squads, planes per launch, and 9 planes per squad. So there's plenty of planes flying around, especially at the start of the match when it's got plenty of planes. Look at the deployment. Well, we already spawn on this, the short side because there's a carrier. Sometimes the carrier winds up behind a group of 3, which means that one of the flanks or positions will have 2 ships. So we're already at a bit of a disadvantage. I'm trying to show them, yes, we're going to get some good spotting over here. Vanguard, come support me. Anyone else? But everyone's going east. But the Lexington coming in hot, and we're already melting the piss out of them. 5 planes shot down. And watch how quickly we just melt this guy. I'm just going to go over the stats on this thing. At 7 kilometers on this build, we have 772 damage per minute on the AA guns. Get within 4.7 kilometers, an additional 1,548 damage per second. So we're over about 23 or 2,300 damage per minute when all AA is engaged on this thing. For comparison's sake, let's take a look at the Fletcher. I don't have that set up for AA yet. That'll probably happen sooner or later, but right now it's my gunboat build. On that, we have 270 damage per minute once the planes get within 5 kilometers, an additional 560 at 3.5, an additional 175 when it's all the way into 2 kilometers. So all told there, we're looking at roughly, 900 damage per second as opposed to 2,200. So if you see me in the Friesland and you're playing carrier, go ahead and try me, I guess is what we're saying here. What was the clear skies? About a minute and a half? Okay. So now I'm watching those torpedo planes come over here, and I'm like, yes. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me, we can't get fooled again. Not the motto of the carrier. But he does wise up, and he will go to the other side of the map. So unfortunately, you can see the at this point in time, I'm like, okay, this team is conceding the game. We're balling up at the southeast. They're going to get slammed by both flanks at the same time. Now, why Red is going to have trouble this game is they take their time pushing here. They should be really saying to themselves, okay, I'm getting spotted, but I'm not getting shot. What does that mean? That means there's a destroyer spotting here. Let's kind of change course as we advance, dodge any potential torps, but let's push forward, not expand all the way there, and we got multiple ships sitting in their spawn, kind of playing behind cover. Too slow, which is kind of their problem here. We are getting located, so I'm thinking, okay, there's a destroyer over here. Should I fight him or not? Well, at this point in time, I'm like, you know what? This is looking like a loss. I'm going to try and go see if we can shoot down the world record for plane shot down. So I begin to traverse across the map here. I'm just going to fast forward a little bit until there's more action because there's about 3, 4, 5 minutes of sailing, whatever it is. But as the red team begins to advance, as we'll see here, some of the guys that have just been kind of sitting in the spawn, well, they're not going to be completely oblivious to the threat. So I'm saying to myself, all right, I kind of want to really shoot down a lot of planes this game, but I also, it's kind of my responsibility playing out here to try and help these guys. So if they're going to try and defend the base, then we'll go ahead and stick around here and see what we can do. So we got 3 destroyers. We've got at least one of them there in the cloud. I think we got a Helena or some sort of cruiser back there and a couple of battleships pushing in. So that's the situation we're going to find ourselves. The carrier will continue to attack the east for the foreseeable future, but eventually we will run into him again. Or rather, he'll run into us again, I think is the more apt way to put it. There goes the first kill of the game. About 5 minutes in, so kind of a slow start to the game anyways. But here we go. We're moving in Summers, the Classic Edition, Collector's Edition, whatever. Moving in there. Now our radar, or rather the sonar range 4-4, right? So periodically maybe zoom in here, see exactly how far we are. Okay, that looks like about 5.5, whatever it was. Not quite there yet. Assuming he might just sit in the cloud. He might get blasted by one of these torps. If he does, I want to be able to shoot where the splash is. So we're trying to pay attention here to see what's going on. See if we can get this destroyer. Because even if we kill the Brandenburg, we kill the battleship on the right. Even the cruiser, if we do that and then we go on either up the gut or to the east, well, the destroyer being over here, you can still pressure the base, affecting the scoring or potentially even winning the game. So our sonar is active now. Does pick up the torpedoes early for our team. Hopefully they're paying attention. Another good reason to zoom out in between shots is you're more likely to see spotted torps either from the air or friendly sonars or whatever. Even if the destroyers don't have sonars, they'll often pick up the torps before you'd be able to see them. So make sure you're paying attention here. Getting spotted here by the Brandenburg. Don't want to be close to the Brandenburg. Vicious secondary attack. All right, so he gives us a bit of damage there. We do have to repair some stuff. Here comes the Summers. He's about 6 kilometers away. And we'd love to get him off the board. All right, so he's shooting at something. We're backing up. Still deploying the smoke. We'd like to spread it out a little bit more. But ultimately getting the Summers off the board is going to be the main goal here. Now, I do notice when I'm playing the Friesland, I used to have it as a pure reload build. And then since then, I've switched the priorities over to the anti-air, which is great when there's a carrier involved, or even when we need to shoot down a stray fighter plane or whatever that's floating around. But it is noticeably slower. Now you might be saying to yourself, this thing's still kicking out a lot of damage. Of course. Yeah, the Friesland's still shooting very rapidly. But, you know, there are sacrifices to the AA builds. And that's kind of always been the reason I didn't use them, is because from an economic perspective, other builds will be useful in every game, whereas the AA builds are only useful really when there's planes above you, which figure out what percentage of the time that is, and you'll know how economical it is to deploy the builds. But when they come in handy, they come in very handy. All right, Alabama pushing here. We got to be pretty careful. I do have over a minute left on the smoke, but if he continues to push, I do need to stop shooting and leave, because eventually he'll proxy spot and blow us up, especially if he's working in conjunction with the team. Is trying to blind fire the smoke. I do note that any player that attempts that, you have to be aware of that willingness, and then if they are landing the shots, you got to be saying to yourself, okay, they know how to blind fire into smoke, above average. Okay, brand new players are frankly, you know, half the player base at least probably wouldn't even try and shoot in the smoke. So here comes the Helena. He's broadside and he's trying to turn a little bit, but we're going to try and turn away from him. Squirting out of the smoke, I'm keeping an eye on the map, saying to ourselves, is there anyone to the northwest that can spot us? It's close. The battleship, he's not picking us up yet, though, so that's good. And we just need to be aware of that. Anytime we leave the smoke, yeah, if we keep the smoke in between us and the guy we're fighting, great, but there might be other lines of sight. So you do want to be aware of that. I still would have had to leave anyways, but we are getting good damage on the Helena here. I think someone else will get the kill, but that's no big deal. We're just trying to win the game at this point in time. And we've actually been doing a pretty good job turtling. Now, I always criticize sitting in the base and doing nothing the whole time. When it works is when the enemy comes at you in waves or in, you know, numerically disadvantageous situations. If the whole team is converging on us at once and they're shooting us from both sides and maybe even a guy up the gut, well, then we're toast. That would be a very rapid end, you know, a quick battle in Red's favor. But when they send one ship in at a time over here, one ship in at a time over here, then we're maintaining our numerical advantage. So when the turtling strategy works is when, or the black hole strategy as we call it, is when the ships are not working, you know, as a team on the other side, right? So even if you're not on the comms like I'm not, you need to be aware of what your team's actually doing and make sure, to the extent that you can do it, work together. Because this game's all about numbers, mismatches in terms of, you know, 2v1, 3v1, whatever you can get. Those are how you win these fights. Hipper coming in here, very, very, very dangerous. Nasty, nasty sonar. And if he catches us within the sonar, we're probably going to be dead. So we want to ward him off. We do have someone else shooting him as well. But I want to impose a cost on him here. We do have a broken line of sight temporarily. Again, I need to be ready to go screaming right up the gut there and get out of here if he comes around that ridge, because he could blast us pretty quickly. But he's going down there, and actually he's removed off the board. So we're trying to get him down. There goes the Alabama. Perfect. What's the situation? We got a carrier, we got a destroyer. Last seen up here. And Twisted Track is suggesting he's coming right up the gut. Check this out. Zen Yang. Those of you familiar with that ship should be saying to yourself what I was saying at this time. Great, this guy can't torp us. This is a fight I cannot lose. Deep water torps on those Asian destroyers. He cannot torp me, so I will beat the snot out of him in a gunfight. Like I'm going to beat the snot out of these planes here. Sure, go sail right after me. I'm going to give him a little juke there just to see if we can dodge some. Rather not take any hits, and then we're just going to sail right through him. So we did dodge the torp there, shooting down some planes, great. And then we got a Gneiss now to the east, and he's trying to attack the base. He's going to be moving into a 4v1 or something like that. So I'm not concerned about him. And here comes the destroyer. He's shooting there. I didn't note him on the map. I was looking at something else. But here's what I'm talking about. I don't even know if he attempts to torp or not, but if he knows how deep water torps work, he probably won't, or maybe would throw him up there just to see if he catches someone else coming up the gut as he's going down. But he, at this point in time, he knows he's dead. How much damage can he take off of us? Is it going to be enough for the carrier to sink us is the only real question there. And that's a pretty big turnaround on this game. But at this point in time, I don't really care about the game. Looks like we're going to win it. If we lose, we lose. But I want to know how many clear sky medals can we get in a game. It's 20 planes shot down to get one. We'll see if we cross the 40 plane mark, if it's possible, and do we get another Clear Skies medal? So that's the last remaining question to be answered in this one. And so we're just going to move the destroyer on the cap, all right? That puts the red team in check. The carrier is under an obligation at that point in time to try and bomb me to reset me if he's still trying to win the game, or if he ever was, we'll find out. But that's the purpose of this. If I happen to catch the carrier in range to do some damage, like all of a sudden he is coming towards us, great, we'll shoot him. That's going to add even more urgency for him to bomb us, because he'll know we're trying to sink him, and carriers really don't like to get sunk, so that will force him to basically try and defend us here. So, you know, we're just going to go ahead and execute this play and see how many more planes we can shoot down. Alright, so carriers, part of playing the carrier, I think, is kind of learning the ships that can kick the crap out of your squads. Friesland's definitely one of them. The Oyster Gotland, you know, there's plenty of them. There's a lot of battleships, there's some cruisers, but in general, you just kind of have to take the time to figure that out, which I always advocate playing multiple lines in this game, just for the sheer fact that knowing what your enemy wants to be doing, with your familiarity with their particular ship, that goes a long way, right? If you only play battleships, what is the destroyer actually trying to do? What is the cruiser actually trying to do? Well, it's easier to know if you've actually played the line. So here we go. We continue to shoot down planes. We continue to blast this Lexington. We could be throwing some AP in here. He does get a hit on us there. But I'm just saying to myself, okay, let's just continue to get the consistent damage. We got a couple more destroyers coming over here. They're, of course, going to be shooting them. We got carriers bombing them. Everyone's piling on the Lexington. And the planes, we're up to 44, it looks like, shot down. And if I'm correct, it's 20 planes per Clear Skies medal, then obviously we cannot get more than one. So that science has been run. The results are in. We've talked about this in the stream multiple times, but no, you cannot actually get multiple Clear Skies medals. Surprising, in fact. I was pretty surprised when I found that out playing this game. But nevertheless, that's what we're looking at. So that's going to do it for that one, guys. Hope you did enjoy it. If you did, please hit the thumbs up. New to the channel, consider subscribing. Lots of World of Warships coming for you all the time. Questions, comments, leave them below. Love to hear from you guys, and we'll see y'all later. All right, peace.